You're listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe, Director of Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. This is the Jewish Inspiration Podcast.
Welcome back, my dear friends, to another episode of the Orchos Tzaddikim in the Treasure for Life edition on page 396, day number 67. We're in the middle of the topic of happiness. We talked previously about the trusts that are required in order to have happiness. And this is a theme we mentioned this morning in our Parsha podcast, that it is so critically important to have trust in Hashem. If you know that Hashem will take care of your everything, there's nothing to fear. I know that my big brother, my big father, my big uncle, whatever you want to define Hashem as to you, it's fine. But Hashem has much broader shoulders than we do, and He can carry the burdens and make sure that everything is taken care of. And not only He can, He does all the time. All we have to do is let Hashem do His job and not get in His way. We talked about the 100 blessings this morning in our prayer podcast. And one of the things that we need to understand about 100 blessings is that we need to constantly humble ourselves to understand the blessings that Hashem bestows upon us, not the ones that we think we bring upon ourselves. Hashem brings it to us. So now when we talk about joy and happiness, the basis of joy is that first we don't have worry. And that worry is again eliminated by the trust that we have in Hashem. Now we're going to talk about the regular, ordinary subject of joy. By the way, just if you look around the world, the entire world is searching for this one trait. Everybody is in a search for happiness. The criminal is in a search for happiness. He thinks that if I steal money, then I'll be happy. If I steal someone else's wife, I'll be happy. If I steal someone else's job, I'll be happy. Okay, then you have the people who are hiking the greatest mountains. When I get to the peak, then I'll be happy. When I finish that marathon, then I'll be happy. When I tour the entire globe, then I'll be happy. They're searching for happiness all around the world. But the truth is, happiness is not a destination. You don't arrive at a place called happiness. Even if you go to a city called Truth and Consequences in New Mexico, that's not where you find happiness. It's a great name of a city, by the way. But that's not where you find. Happiness is not a destination. Happiness is a frame of mind, of knowing that Hashem has got my back and He will take care of my every single need. Ki hamamin b'lev shalom v'haboteach be'ezer hatzur. The one who believes with a complete and total heart and has his full trust in the rock. What is the rock? A rock is a symbol of eternity, which is why we call Hashem our rock. Tzur Yisrael, the rock of Israel. Hu sameach la'olam v'hu sovel kol davar. Someone who puts his trust in Hashem and has true faith and belief and knowledge in Hashem is eternally happy and can handle anything. There's no stress, there's no tension, there's no worry, because he knows Hashem's got me covered. Ki hachole she'ochel samim hamorim b'shvil refuah. We know, kimo achola, just like someone who's sick, someone who's ill. Sometimes we have to take some really bitter medicine to heal us. So we know sometimes we have to deal with some uncomfortable situations. It's part of our journey, because I know Hashem doesn't bring me any challenge just randomly. Any challenge that we have, Hashem puts there specifically so that I grow. So if I know that, it's just like, why do I need to be sick? Why do I need to eat this horrible medicine? So that you can be healed. Hashem puts us through challenges so that we can be healed on a spiritual level. And a person who's able to carry this burden is able to carry all the what Also, someone who's able to handle this is able to deal with seeing that they have less than others. Oh, it's not fair. Where's fairness? Where's equality? Why don't I have what they have? It's fine. I know, because I understand that Hashem gives me exactly what I need, and therefore I have nothing to look at somebody else and what they have and why I have less. Ki yomar, a person will say, Daili bima shegazar li habore. It's enough what Hashem has decided I should have. That's what I'm going to have. And therefore, if your competitor comes over to you and says, hey, Stephen, do you mind telling me about your business and how you run your business? You're like, excuse me? You're my competitor? You're trying to put me out of business? And you're coming to ask me for advice? You know what the true believer in Hashem does? He puts his hand over his shoulder, says, come, let me show you what you do. And you give him all sincere, truthful, honest advice. You know why? Because when Hashem decrees that you're going to make a living, no one will take it away, not even your competitor. I've had people yell and scream at me. Do you know what that guy did to my business? He stole my customers. He stole my customer list. He stole my idea. He didn't steal nothing from you. Hashem tested you. And by the looks of it, you're not looking too good on that test. So a person has to look beyond, and it's not easy, I'll tell you. I know this firsthand. It's not easy. When someone does something that seems to be directly harming you, to realize it's the hand of Hashem. Ki yomar daili bima shegazar li habore. It is sufficient what Hashem decreed that I will earn this year. You hear this, Lauren? You will earn this year exactly what Hashem decreed last Rosh Hashanah for you. And this Rosh Hashanah, you will be decreed upon. It will be decreed exactly what you're going to earn next year if Hashem decides to give you life. You know, my people would come to my grandfather at this time of the year, and they would come with a wedding invitation for their son or daughter. You know, Rabbi, we want you to be there at the wedding. Can you come and honor us? You know, so when is the wedding? The wedding is after the holidays. They're coming before the holidays. They don't want to be busy with the whole holiday rush. You know, you have 3 holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, one after the other. So my grandfather would say, come to me after Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, because I don't know if Hashem's going to give me life. If Hashem gives me life, then I'll see if I can make it to the wedding. It's not a given that we will have the privilege of living another year. And that's why Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is something that's so incredibly important for us to take it seriously, to recognize we're playing for our lives. We're standing in front of the judge, the King of Kings, and we're asking Hashem, give me another year. Hashem, give me life. Hashem, grant me success. Why? So that I serve you, Hashem. I need a livelihood, not so that I have money, so that I can buy a new cyber truck. I need money, Hashem, so that I can serve you. That's why I want. Hashem, you know what? Give me more money so that I can give money to charity. Give me more money so that I can help poor people. Give me more money so I can help people in Israel. That's a very good argument. But the first most important thing, Hashem, give me life so that I can serve you. I want to be your servant. You'll see if you look carefully that happiness encompasses everything. Anybody who's concerned about his worldly affairs, about his materialistic pursuits, you're worried about this world. You're worried about your car and your house and your clothes and your fashion and your luxuries and your vacations and you're worried about that? Guess what? You're never going to have peace in this world. You're going to be running from one fashion to another fashion. You're going to be running from one house to, I need to remodel my house. My father used to joke, one of our neighbors always had workers at their house. I don't know, we lived there for 30, 40 years. My parents live in that house. Every single day there was another truck. One time it was redoing the bathroom, and then it's redoing the closet, and then it's redoing the kitchen, and then it's repainting, and then now we're going to do the basement again, and now we're going to change the carpets. Then we're always busy doing things. If you're worried about materialism, you're never going to have peace. Never. Because it's never enough. It's a bottomless pit. It'll never please you. And then a person's always thinking, how can I make another buck? What deal can I close? Who can I be introduced to? I'm gonna have to go because everything's me. I have to accomplish. And it's not going to be sufficient for him. What Hashem has decreed to be his share. Therefore, the Mishnah tells us, you want to know who's a wealthy man? The wealthiest of all wealthy men is someone who's happy with his portion. You're happy with your portion? You're the wealthiest person on earth. I have a friend of mine, I ask him every time I ask him, I say, how you doing? He says to me, I don't think it's possible to be any better. Recognizing that every moment we have is the greatest moment we've ever had. I have right now. I don't think I can possibly be any better. Someone who is happy with what they have doesn't look at their neighbor and get jealous, doesn't try to cheat on a business deal, doesn't try to skim a little bit off their taxes. You know what? Hashem will give you what you need. Af im hu oni ki yismach b'Hashem. Even someone who's poor will be happy. Will be happy because this is exactly what Hashem gave me. So this is what I have. Shehu chelko v'nachaloso. This is the exact portion that Hashem has designated for me. V'chein kosov chelki Hashem omarti. As the verse states in Psalms, I have said my portion is Hashem. V'ksiv Hashem menas chelki v'kosi v'cheinu omer yismach le mevakshe Hashem. Let the heart of those who seek Hashem rejoice. The bottom line is when we seek Hashem, that's when we're really happy. V'amida azos, and this midah benafshos hatziddikim on top of page 398. This trait is the essence of the righteous. Shehem b'noam sholem b'inyan avodasam u'b'simcha gdola u'b'prishusam. They are so content with their portion. They're so happy. They're pleased. This is what Hashem decided I should have. Why should I be worried? Half of the worries that we have are fraudulent. I don't know. There's a new manager of HR. I don't get along with them so well. I'm afraid that they're going to... So for 6 months, you could be busy being worried that you're going to lose your job. Meanwhile, 6 months of happiness are gone. I can't even tell you how many people I've spoken to like that. Because they're worried of something that maybe, who cares? Just do your job. Hashem is going to take care of me. You think you got yourself this job? You can get yourself the job. Hashem got you that job too. And if he gets you out of that job because you get fired, he'll get you a better job after that. I have 101 stories to tell you about that. Where people came to me crying. They couldn't believe they lost their job. How can it be? Told them, what do you want? Well, I want to be this and that. Each one is a story. Only for them to get much better than they ever dreamt for. Hashem knows exactly what we need. Our job is to cling to Hashem and hold on tight for the ride. Now, there's also in Jerusalem, there's a synagogue called Prushim. Prushim means those who are, I don't want to say that they abstain, but that's the type of word, is like abstinence from worldly indulgence. I'll give you an example. You ever go to a kiddush in a synagogue? Go to a kiddush in a synagogue. You have cakes and you have cookies and you have hot food and you have this and you have that, all these different things. And people fill up their plates like they haven't seen food for the last 8 years. And most of the cases, they leave it on their plate. They're eating with their eyes, not with their stomachs. I'll share with you a great story. in honor of my son. Such a fine midos that he has. So one of my pet peeves is when people touch the food from Kiddush before the rabbi says Kiddush. And I've talked to my children about this, and I tell them this is not appropriate. It's not nice. You don't touch the food. You don't touch anything. The rabbi says Kiddush, and when he's done, he says Borei Pri Hagafen on the wine. You say Amen. You can get yourself a plate, and you can take one thing, finish it, take another thing, finish it. I've talked about this to my kids. My son was maybe 8 years old at the time, Shlomo, and we were at shul, and there's the delicious chocolate babka oozing with chocolate, and he has his eye in it. And I walked into the kiddush room exactly when he did, and I saw he was at the other end of the table. He didn't realize that I saw exactly what was going on. And I see him struggling. Because he really wants that cake, and there's only about 5 slices left because everybody's already filled their plates. And he's hoping that by the time the rabbi is finished his conversation and starts making kiddush, there'll still be a piece of cake left. A slice of cake is taken, there's only 4 left. And he's sitting there looking at it and hoping that nobody's going to take any more of those 4 slices, so that at least one will be left for him. Finally, the rabbi starts filling his glass with wine, and I see my son looking, hoping, can you just hurry it up a little bit? Hurry it up. As the rabbi is saying, okay, I'm about to recite Kiddush, another hand comes in, takes another piece of cake. There's only 3 left. The rabbi picks up the glass, and now he has to say the Kiddush, recite the Kiddush, and another hand comes in, takes another slice. There's only 2 left. And my son, you can see almost a teardrop is forming at the edge of his eye. And he's hoping he gets that one of those 2 pieces. The rabbi starts the blessing, Baruch Atah Hashem, a hand comes in, takes the second to last piece. There's 1 piece left, and he's hoping, please, nobody. And as the rabbi is saying, Borei Pri Hagafen, hand comes in and takes that last piece of cake. And my son's eyes drop. I saw this. I witnessed the entire thing. I didn't comment. I didn't say anything. He didn't know that I saw. We get home from Kiddush, and we had a big table, a lot of guests. I said, before we begin Kiddush today, I need to make an announcement. I said, I want to share with you that I witnessed greatness today. Because this 8 or 9-year-old boy, and I shared the entire story, didn't do what he knew was wrong. Even though others, he was going to miss out. He knew it was wrong and he didn't do it. Do you know what it takes, what internal strength it takes to stand up against your desire, your temptation in such a way? He wouldn't have seen, he wouldn't have known that I saw if he took it. I'm not as police officer. I'm not as, you do what you want. You're your own person. It's fine. As parents, we try to guide our children. It's not a police force. But he withstood the temptation. And I announced to everybody at the Shabbos table, I said, his reward is not going to come from me. His reward is going to come from the Almighty. But as his father, I'm so proud of him. After Shabbos, I'm going to take him to the supermarket and buy him his own entire babka. And that's what I did Monday morning. I picked him up Monday afternoon. I picked him up from school. I took him to the supermarket and I bought him his whole entire babka. You know what he ended up doing with it? He brought it to school and ended up giving it out to his whole class. But that is an element of precious that we're talking about. Being willing to give up on the materialism of this world. We see something, that whatever your desires are in food, if it's the quiche that you want, or if it's the meat that you want, but you're willing to abstain from indulgence in physical pleasures. That doesn't mean that a person shouldn't be married. We're not Christians. In Judaism, we have an obligation to be married and to be involved in marriage in a physical way. We're not talking about that kind of abstinence. We're talking about abstaining from indulgence in materialistic pleasures. What does the verse say about that? Simchu b'Hashem v'gilu tzaddikim v'harninu kol yishrei leiv. Be happy in Hashem and rejoice, you righteous, and sing, all you just of heart. V'cheinu omer, the verse says, Or zarur l'tzaddik uli yishrei leiv simcha. Lochein yasim kol adam simchasa ala Torah. Therefore, a person's happiness, a person's joy shouldn't be from the physical things, but rather change the currency to the spiritual things, to the spiritual accomplishments. Ube'es sheyasa mitzvos. And when a person does mitzvos, yismach libo al shezoch lios eved lemelech ha'elyon. Should be so grateful and so thankful that you have the privilege to serve Hashem. I heard someone say just a couple of days ago, he said, people tell me, aren't you concerned, Shabbos, you can't do this and you can't do that? He says, are you kidding me? You know what I have on Shabbos? I have the privilege to choose not to do it. Hashem says, it's your choice not to do it. You don't need to work. You don't need to call anybody back. I got you covered. Oh, what's going to be? You don't need to. And the more a person's able to distance themselves from those worldly pursuits on Shabbos, you're living in the Garden of Eden every day. But the privilege to serve Hashem. Asher kol bnei mali yishtachavu lo. That all the exalted, that all the angels bow down to the exalted one. And we have the privilege to do the same. This King David said, that King David said, I rejoice in your words as one who finds much spoil. And one who does and fulfills the commandments of the Torah with great joy. How much more precious as a parent is it when your child does something that you ask them to do out of joy versus doing it begrudgingly. Take out the garbage. Or they do it with a joy. Sure, my father asked. My mother asked. Avram v'David kol hayom kula yo'oskim b'mitzvos b'Torah. King David, Abraham, their entire lives, they were busy studying Torah, fulfilling the mitzvos. What did they do all day? Aside from learning, they were singing thanks to Hashem. For what? What are they singing? Singing Hashem's praise with joy. When you're happy and you're joyous because you know I'm in the hands of Hashem, I'm living in a different plane, I'm living in a different world because I'm living in the world of Hashem. And then Hashem sends His divine spirit to the person. And then the person is elevating himself in his connection to Hashem, and his soul becomes bound up with joy and connection to Hashem. And then a person is able to get the revelation of the holiest realms. And that flavor, that deliciousness goes into his insides. He becomes completely consumed by the joy of his closeness with Hashem. Nafshi yotza b'dabro. V'ta'alozna kil yosai b'daber sfosecha meisharim. So these verses are telling us, as King David tells us, V'chein amar David, Baruchi nafshi. King David says, bless Hashem, O my soul. For the soul, which is a celestial entity, rises to the heights, and when it perceives its secret, it loves its creator and adapts his mitzvos. He te'av es boro v'tisagel mitzvosav. וכאשר תגיע הנפש אל מחיצו, והמה לו אשר היא דומה לו, אז תייחדהו במצפונהו ותשעשע בחדרהו. ובכל עת ובכל רגע חושקת אהבתו. So once a person gets into that realm, once you taste the taste of spiritual connection to God, the worldly, physical, materialistic desires it's garbage. It's insignificant. Oz Hashem Baruch Hu sholach bo cheshek hasimcha v'halev yiv'ar v'yidlak mirov cheshek ha'ava. So then a person's on a whole different level. Then there's no worry, there's no concern, there's no fear, there's no anxiety. There's just happiness because I know I'm in a love relationship with God. As the verse states, I will rejoice in Hashem, my soul will be happy with my God. Fortunate is the soul which merits such joy. So we see that there's something which is well beyond what money can buy you. Well beyond what all of the materialism in the world can do for you. And that is real spiritual connection with Hashem. Releasing our own want and desire to control the outcomes. We always want to control the outcomes. Our biggest fears is when we don't have control of the outcome. Anybody here concerned about the election? Everyone's concerned. Everyone's talking about it. Everywhere you go, everywhere I go, I see signs on people's lawns. I turn on the radio. They're talking politics. I turn on the internet. Politics. Everything. Everybody's concerned. Everybody's worried. You know who has no worry? Someone who knows that Hashem runs the world. Hashem runs the world. Oh, if this person gets elected, this will happen. If that person gets elected, this will happen. Hashem runs the world. You don't think he's got a hand in a little bit of what's going on? And Hashem knows a little bit about current events, world history. Hashem knows what happens. It's irrelevant. As members of a society, we live in a country, we should vote, and I encourage everyone to go out. If you didn't register to vote, please do so quickly. And vote. But don't think like your vote makes all the difference in the world. Like it's your vote that Hashem is going to handle it. He'll be able to take care of it. You have to do your part. Absolutely. Ein hashchina shora el mitoch simcha. So this is, I wanted to speak this out, but I'm happy that our author here of the Orchos Tzaddikim brings this. The presence of Hashem cannot reside where there is sadness. Only where there's happiness. The presence of Hashem. You think, I want to be holy, so I'm gonna, be pushing away all the materialistic things of the world, which is what this is what the church says, right? If you want to be holy, you have to distance yourself from physical. That's what they say. You can't get married because you're going to indulge in physicality. It's not going to be good. You're not going to be able to connect spiritually, either physical or spiritual. You can't put them both together. That's not the way Judaism works. God gave us physical to elevate it and make it spiritual. Food is very physical. Very physical. It can become spiritual. That's why we recite a blessing before we eat it. We elevate that food. It becomes a vessel through which we connect to Hashem. After we eat, we thank Hashem. Again, we elevate the food that we ate. Every type of physicality is to bring us closer to Hashem. If we don't understand how the world works spiritually, then we say, it's the evil. Physicality is the evil. It's not true. Physicality is not the evil. If it's not connected with something that elevates us, it's evil. Meaning physicality for the sake of physicality is evil. It'll pull us right down. But physicality, which is infused with spirituality, becomes the holiest of holy. So what do we say here? Ein shechina shora ela mitoch simcha. The presence of Hashem cannot reside where there is no simcha. If there's happiness, that means, what does happiness means? Close to Hashem. Close to Hashem, obviously Hashem's presence is there. Because I'm happy, because I can rely on Him. I can trust Him. V'chol hanavim lo hayu misnabim b'chol eis sheyirtzu elo hayu mechavnim datam v'yoshim smechim v'tuvei lev u'misbodedim she'eina nevuah shora lo metoch atzlus v'lo elo mitoch simcha. Listen to this quote from Tractate Shabbat. Hear this? Sorry, not from Tractate Shabbat. Another source says the following. The prophets, think of Joshua, Moses was a prophet. You think they could just talk to God whenever they wanted? No. They had to be in a state of happiness. Not fake happiness. Not smoking up and then being happy and now, I'm in a happy state. I can speak to God. I see things. No. They had to be at a real state of happiness, of connection with God. They'd be alone. That means I don't need other people to make me happy. I can be sitting in the room and just be happy because I have my Creator in heaven and earth, Creator of heaven and earth, with me. Prophecy did not descend to the prophets if they were lazy, if they were sad, but only if they were happy. Because laziness is part of being sad. I can't. No? That's the way it works. Lefikach, therefore, Lefikach bnei anavim hayu meivim lefneim nevel v'tov v'cholil v'kinor u'mevakshim anavua. Therefore, what would the prophets do? They would bring a harp and a drum and a flute and a violin. They would have a whole orchestra. Why? What does music do? It makes you happy. They were seeking prophecy. They had to be in a happy, elevated state, which is why my rabbi always told me it's a very healthy thing to always have music on in your house. Children should grow up with music playing. It makes the whole environment in the house happy. Kedichsiv, as the verse states, as it says, when the minstrel played, that the hand of Hashem was upon him. My dear friends, in order to attain our level of greatness and happiness, we need of connection to Hashem, we need to have happiness. Without happiness, we cannot connect to Hashem. This concludes day number 67. And now, my dear friends, we will turn it over to day number 68.
You've been listening to Rabbi Aryeh Wolbe on a podcast produced by Torch, the Torah Outreach Resource Center of Houston. Please help sponsor an episode so we can continue to produce more quality Jewish content for our listeners around the globe. Please visit torchweb.org to donate and partner with us on this incredible endeavor.